Hello YouTube, welcome to the garden. As you may have heard, about a week ago we had a big old heat wave up here. We set some all-time records. Our temperature here got about 115, 116 degrees. I want to show you what it does to a garden. Item number one, my carrots, which I grow in these pots. Growing carrots in pots like this subjects to the carrots to swings in temperature because the soil doesn't moderate the temperature as well as it could, and so we've got some sunburn on several of the carrots. As you can see here, this one back here just tinged the leaves, but for the most part they look healthy and happy, so I'm not too worried about them. I have this planter up here of pollinator-friendly flowers, and you can see that these also got dried out and burned. The basil, for the most part, seems to have survived, although I did see some heat fringing around the edges of some of the leaves, but I'm not seeing any here. And these little gem lettuces have survived quite well. Despite my attempts to keep them watered and cooled, the strawberries have been really hit hard. One right there has died. These are all sunburned. More sunburn damage back there. And there's another dead one and some more heat damage there. Fortunately, I wasn't planning to keep these plants. Many of these are 4 and 5 years old and past their prime, so I wasn't planning on keeping them. Moving over to the squash. Some of the leaves on the squash plant got sunburned. These particularly. They've since grown new leaves to cover the burnt ones. The ones that you see that are burned were actually fully exposed at the time of the heat wave. But you can see quite a bit of heat damage there and over in that bed as well. Moving over next to that, we see some sunburn and heat damage to the eggplant leaves. The peppers seem to have survived quite well, but we also see on the cucumbers quite a bit of heat damage, and where we had small young leaves, they just completely shriveled at the tops of the plants. Doesn't seem to be affecting cucumber production though. The green beans were really affected. You can see all the sunburning, but they are recovering. They've got a lot of new leaves on. Same thing here. And up near the top, most of the damage at the top, where leaves got damaged near the top, have fallen off, and the green beans are continuing to climb up the trellis. So I have trimmed a lot of the damage off the tomatoes, but you can see we've got some sunburn here and here, and let's see if near the tops of the plants we got some sunburning there as well. Where the very top of the plant has died, like right here, this damage here, you can see the top of the shoot, the top of the stem has died, but it is sending off here a new sucker, which will become the new stem going upward. Or I could take the sucker out and just top it right there, call it good. We've also got the same thing happening over here. However, it looks to be like this may, well, there's a new sucker growing here. So even if this main shoot doesn't continue to grow, the sucker will continue to provide a new growth. So that's how tomatoes, let's see, I've already cut away most of the damage here, but that's how tomatoes recover from the heat and the damage. And talk about damaging the top of the main vine right there. And unfortunately, I had already trimmed off the sucker before the heat wave, and so now I don't really have a way for this particular branch to grow. But the tomato is sending up 1, 2, 3 suckers, and we'll pick one of them to be the main shoot and keep going. Let's look at some of the onions. They also got sunburn. They had an interesting burn pattern here, and you can see it right here on this leaf where the top of the leaf got burned, but the bottom did not. The leaf is continuing now to dry from the top. This is a normal time for the onions to start drying out. Here's also a leaf that shows a very clear burn scar as well. Doesn't seem to affect it. There's another one. See, green underneath and brown on top. It may have accelerated their seasonal browning off, but it hasn't particularly killed them. I did see a couple of scapes come up that I had to pinch off that may have been caused by the stress of being sunburned, but so far there are no others. And the onions continue to bulb up, so we'll have some halfway decent onions. So that is what happens to a garden when the temperature gets very high. No need to stress over it. The garden does recover. As you can see, a week later, and the garden is still doing great. Yeah, despite the heat that it went through. So, thanks for watching. Hope this is helpful. If your garden gets hit by a heat wave, don't stress out. It will recover. So, keep gardening. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe to get more videos. And keep on gardening.